Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show on Pursuit Channel and Wild TV. You are now tuned into our weekly podcast hosted by executive producer Kyle Green, production coordinator Jeff Hutchinson, director AJ Beadle, and creative producer Ryan Parks. We live in a world where our natural resources are almost solely protected by funds raised by hunters and fishermen. With over 60% of those funds coming from white males over the age of 55, the Greenway Outdoors team has set out on a mission to create content that would inspire millennials, Generation Z, and new sportsmen and women to get out, hunt, fish, and contribute towards conservation and the betterment of our planet. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. Hello, and welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. I am Kyle.
I'm Jeff.
I am AJ.
Welcome.
So quiet here without Ryan.
I know.
What's up with that?
Ryan's not here today. He's at Faster Horses.
He's
walking around. You know, he's the guy in the American flag thong walking around.
Oh yeah.
You know
or the
that?
banana suit.
Yeah.
The banana. Oh God,
Oh.
that'd be so hot today.
Oh, I was like
not in a good way.
weird thing to say about that, Jeff.
He looks good in that banana.
Oh.
He's gonna look great.
AJ, you got a band on your arm. Did you get blood today?
I gave blood today. First time in many years. Did you guys ever give blood at high school? Did they do that?
No.
Yeah.
I remember that was the first time I ever did it in high school, and I only did it to get out of class.
I don't give blood.
No?
No, it's not my thing.
It would have been funnier if you're like, oh, AJ, you gave blood, and he was like, yeah, I gave blood. It's great.
I'm part of this referral program.
He's like, I definitely didn't get a test today. No, I don't do.
doesn't do needles.
Don't do the needles.
Yeah.
I haven't had shots since I was 1.
We
No, I'm just kidding.
saw somebody from high school. And they were laying in bed. They were in the hospital, and they had needles in both their arms.
Oh.
And he walks in and goes, "Can you cover that up?" And I'm like,
gosh.
"It's all about you, buddy."
She covered him up.
Well, I don't have a
did.
problem with needles, and I used to give blood a lot back in the day, but I've been on like a 5-year hiatus, and there was one in town. I just kind of strolled in, went in there, and did my thing. Major props to the nurse that did the whole thing, because she was very comforting and she had a very gentle touch, I must add. I give her a 5-star review.
I made a questions. You can't leave it there. She cute.
It was a pleasant experience. Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I enjoyed it.
Nice. Shout out.
Saving lives and worth my time.
Did you get your free juice and cookies?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I got him right. Nope. Too far.
I've never had any like problems where like some people like pass out or vomit or anything like that.
Yeah.
I've never had
Cry uncontrollably.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I don't cry uncontrollably, okay? I just don't get blood. There's this one time I was getting tested for, I think it was mono maybe. I don't remember being that sick. There was something I had to get blood work for. There was no questions asked. I had to get it done. Mm-hmm. And the nurse was gorgeous. And I'm probably 21, 22 maybe at the time. And I was there alone. My mom didn't go with me. No one went with me. So I remember at the time being super nervous about it. And I was like, okay, these girls are smoking hot. And then there's like 3 of them in there. Mm-hmm. And they're all in there talking to me and stuff. I was like, okay, to be honest with you,
That's worth it.
I'm not scared of needles. It's just normally like I black out and it's not really and they're like, oh,
no.
it's okay. And then I was like, for God, please, I know I'm not the greatest human, but I'm begging you, don't let this happen to
Let
me.
me get past this.
So please. So they're like, well, we got to take just a couple vials, so nobody's gonna pass out from a couple vials. And I was like, okay, cool. So
Joke's on you.
so they're like, we'll bring in orange juice and we'll bring in the cookies and stuff like that ahead of time. And so I'm enjoying a snack, and then they do. I eat like the first half, and then they do it, and then next thing I know. And I remember looking away, and the needle didn't bother me, the thought of it. I didn't really feel it that much. Next thing I knew, I was on the floor. There's orange juice everywhere, and everybody's yelling.
They have video. He goes.
Yeah. What was me? No, I blacked out. It's some rare thing. I was talking to a doctor about it where there's something when you have the blood taken out that the way the oxygen moves, your brain just shuts off for a few seconds, and that's it. It's not like I didn't feel the needle, I didn't see the needle, I wasn't even 100% aware they were already taking blood. Mm-hmm. So the mental part wasn't there, and I was trying not to do anything but be tough because these girls are hot.
You gotta.
But it got me brownie points, but I did get orange juice all over my shirt and looked like a complete ass. Fell on the floor, orange juice everywhere. I was like,
That's
man.
a cool medical term for like compensating for something. That's pretty neat.
Medical term. So I did my deed for the day.
Some kind of isis.
What kind of blood do you have? Anything?
O positive.
My dad
The
has.
most basic one.
My dad has O negative.
You seem basic.
Cliche, right?
Right?
Did you drink Starbucks on your way? Your Ugg boots.
You basic chick, you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
wear yoga pants and Ugg boots and my. I like how we turned blood into AJ being a basic chick.
Interesting.
Yeah, pumpkin spice latte over there with his blood. My dad has O negative, which is the one where anybody can use it.
I'm also that.
Are you the rare one too? I wonder what I am. Lord knows, because I won't get it taken.
Yeah, we're never gonna know.
It's nice when you get to give blood because it's like you're helping people, you care about other people, and you've given blood. I've given blood lots of times, so I care about people. How many times have you given blood?
Shut up.
Your general opinion about humans.
It's actually supposed to be good for you because you get rid of some blood and then your body regenerates and makes new. It's actually good for you.
Humans are crazy.
Yeah. But I get my bloodletting done while trout fishing, and I allow the leeches just to do their thing.
It's true.
So
It's very giving of you.
aren't I sweet? Yeah, I'm helping
Give it back
nature.
to the nature,
I care
okay.
about conservation, and you guys obviously don't.
There
So
you go.
All right. You know what? Before I forget about it, last week was your birthday.
yeah,
Nice.
And I got you a gift. And don't already make that face.
I don't. No, I don't.
I don't trust your gift on air. And it didn't come in time to give it to you last week, so here it is this week.
new phone charger.
Happy birthday. You can stop borrowing mine now.
If it's weird, I'm gonna be mad.
Oh, you can be like an adult now.
Oh.
Greenway Outdoors coasters.
Yeah.
What with the
Coming soon to what? No, I'm just kidding.
That's
awesome.
Greenway Outdoors coasters.
Yeah.
I like that.
These are
I'm a
nice.
big coaster fan, so that's a cool
Leather?
gift.
Yeah.
What?
Right.
These are actually really nice.
Custom with the new logo on them.
Moisture.
Oh my
I know you got the. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, they're gonna have the old logo. We just
Nope.
we're gonna be doing it on air today, but we're going to be releasing our new logos, and I'm gonna be showing them to you guys, so you guys will get to check them out. We're gonna do that in a little bit. But Jeffrey, thank you for a cool
You're
gift.
welcome.
That's a good one.
It'll be the perfect thing because every time you come over to my house, you put your drinks on my stuff and you leave rings. So I'm glad you finally got me these.
Would help if you had coasters.
So our hintity hint. Our first topic is something that I'm so excited to talk about. So I found out about this because Joe Rogan posted about it and said I feel partially responsible for this. Joe Rogan talks about aliens and stuff like that a lot, and a lot of people know that AJ and I are total nerds about it.
Big time.
And that we're super excited to do an antelope hunt in Roswell, New Mexico, where the famous UFO crash happened, and
Where it all started.
explore the desert at night and do all that stuff. But there is a big campaign going around.
What is that, like a kid's store? What?
I want to go there.
It's a trinket store.
Yeah, yeah, it's like
Things.
that's the outside of it. But there is a big campaign. I'm sure a lot of people know about it because it's all over social media. A big thing where essentially Area 51 is a army base in the desert of, is it?
I think Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada, I believe. And apparently that's where they took the alien crafts, and that's where they do all the alien studies, and they have UFOs, and they have aliens, and that's where they're all stored.
Four
And
ships.
A lot
I've
of
heard
secrets
specifically.
there.
for years and years and years, the government said that it didn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
And then eventually they admitted that it is, and that it is there. And there's a campaign group on Facebook. God bless the millennials. This is something we are good at. Is they put together a group saying, let's charge the base. They can't stop all of us, essentially is the name of the group, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
And they plan on, they have a date and a time, September 20th, I believe. I think we got a
I think in
picture of it, a
September,
post
I
of it
read.
coming up
September
here.
20th?
It'll come up here in a second.
Yeah.
But essentially their plan is to storm, there it is, September 20th, storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us. It's a public event. Friday, September 20th. 3 o'clock. I like how there's an end time. That's my favorite part. Is like, all right, guys, wrap it up. Grab the aliens. Let's go.
About 3 hours to storm the base? Yeah, about 3 hours.
Potluck ends at 6, so.
So yeah,
I see it's not in Roswell, which I thought. It's in,
no, it's in Nevada. Roswell's in New
Amur-
Mexico.
oh, it's in Amargosa Valley?
So anyhow, that's the base, and there's this group of people. But now, originally there was like 6,000 people the one time I looked at it. Now there's like upwards of
More than a million.
More than 1 million now?
Last time. Okay, so I checked when I first
I
found
thought it
out
was like
about it, which was
40,000.
like 3 weeks or a month ago, and it was 6,500 people. Then I checked again a couple weeks ago, and was like, wow, they've got more than 100,000 people. And then I checked just recently, and it's more than 1 million now.
I think part of that, though, is people want to talk about it. I don't think there's 1 million people that are like, all right, let's get plane tickets together and
Yeah,
figure
exactly.
it out. You know?
At 1 million people, that's 1 in every 350 people in the United States that's a part of this Facebook group. And if they get 1 out of every 100 to go, that's still a lot of people. Like
Everybody's going to be like, the Earth is going to dip because everybody's
And I'm all-
migrating.
I'm all for that's finding out what the secrets are. I just picture like this like march up to the thing and like, all right, we're all here. Let us in, right? And they're like, no.
The best part
you're
is
not getting in.
the litany of memes that have come out. My favorite one, there was a meme out there where it says me, and then you know how there's some memes where it says like me, and then somebody else responding, and then me, and then blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's me, and the other person's a time traveler. And he goes, me, I can't wait for the Area 51 raid.
Uh-huh.
And the time traveler goes, oh, the Area 51 massacres this year? Because they're from the future, you know?
I keep seeing this like massacre thing as if like people think that everyone's just like
Gonna get
the
mowed down.
military just starts spraying bullets. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see it happening that way. I also don't see it working out. And the thing is, I'm all for it. I just.
But what happens if they
More
do?
practical way.
Here's the thing, though, is number one, I don't think 1 million people are going to show up. I think 3,000 people are going to show up. That's what I think.
okay.
That sounds right.
That's not enough.
No.
Now, here's the thing, though. Technically, if you storm a military base, you're supposed to, like, it says you will get shot. Like, that's.
If they say stay away and you keep coming, then I'm responsible for your actions anymore.
Yeah. I think
that's-
they get a lot of leeway. As
So
far
it's
as
on you.
what they're
Okay,
allowed
so
to
that's
do.
the point. But in this day and age, nobody gets leeway
oh, yeah.
No.
because they may
Well-
get leeway to spray people down.
Yeah.
But the backlash from that would be astronomical.
That's when the 1 million people would show up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
100%.
Well, I think what they'll do is they'll have everyone come up to the fence, and then they'll put this big screen up, and it'll just be one big neuralizer, and just poof.
Like
And
Men
they're
in
like-
Black.
Yep. And like, oh yeah, thanks for coming to the hot air balloon show.
Yeah.
Nothing showed up today,
Everyone's
but
looking around like, I don't even like air balloons. Why am I here?
Now I got another like thing to tinker around in my head on about it. If you've got all these okay, so September 20th is supposed to happen. There's a date and time. First of all, that would be dumb if it was like a real thing. Like that's like what Trump says with the military. He's like, why would I say when we're going to bomb this or pull out of this or do that? Why would you tell the enemy that?
yeah.
Same thing. Why would you tell the staff at Area 51, like, all right, guys, you got a month and a half to get out at whatever you're going to get out. But here's the thing. Will the military just not take it seriously so they won't actually remove anything? Or will they take it very seriously
Move everything.
and move
I
everything?
don't
to
know.
Area 49.
I
Okay.
think a lot of it's underground too. So I mean, like the clearance to getting these things. I mean, if you
Yeah.
have to talk to on a serious level, like this is a sector of government that is not on the books that pretty much has any. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
You're not
So-
some place you storm. It's
No.
not-
I mean, they say that, like, even to get in, they, like, do bone scans of your hand so they know who you are because it's unique. Like, to that level, like, what are you guys bringing with you to break down these doors?
Yeah, they bring
that you
your
probably couldn't
camping
even
chairs
You probably
or-
couldn't even find all the doors.
No.
You know what I mean?
And there's probably a door that's not a door, but
So what's going to happen though? Because something's going to happen. I think 3,000 to 6,000 people will show up.
yeah. I think
And
that-
what will happen? If I was Area 51, whatever the weirdest stuff I had was, I'd be having it in the sky just to mess with
Well, like,
everybody.
who's leading this? Is there a?
I don't-
That's what I'm saying.
The guy
Like,
named
who's
Steve.
going to be the
No,
guy?
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Who's going to be the one talking? Like, I represent this group. And
It's me. No, I'm just kidding.
It's me.
You know what I wonder, though? Like, we say, oh, no, there's no way they'd get in. But you hear stories about, like, 12-year-olds or whatever that are, like, hacking into things, you know, like the younger generation.
Yeah, but they don't know what's on-
computers.
Yeah, but
a good point.
that's sitting in the
You know?
comfort of their home with potato chips and cold pops. You don't know what's on the other side of this.
Yeah.
Like
No.
in Area 51,
Well,
it
but
doesn't
as
exist.
far as actually getting in, some kid in New Jersey could potentially just.
Like,
You know.
hacking and.
But he doesn't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what.
Open all the doors.
But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is he doesn't know what he'd be hacking into.
Sure.
Man, I want Texas Roadhouse right now. We're not sponsored. I just really want Texas Roadhouse. Anyhow,
Irrelevant.
very
story.
irrelevant. For whatever reason, I thought when I said that the kid at home was eating chips and cold pop, I'm like, I'm kind of hungry.
now I'm hungry.
How good would ribs be?
How did you even get there?
Nevada's
Turns
known
out
for
we
ribs.
just lost 15 minutes. Anybody else taste metal?
Yeah,
I taste pennies right now.
We've been like brainwashed to the. So the Area 51 thing is canceled. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think it would be really awesome to see what happens because I think something will happen, but I just don't know what.
Well, I think the good thing is that we're getting closer to possibly some answers. I mean,
Right.
they said Area 51 is real. I mean, everything that they're hiding has come out years and years later that things have been done and tested that
Right.
they didn't tell you. And we can't explain a lot of things that pilots see in the sky. I just think we're getting closer and closer to, the truth, as
Like,
they say.
I'm very curious to know, like, you watched something not even alien related, but it's something equally weird that blows our minds. That's just something we didn't even think was going to be there.
Yeah, I mean
Some
that's
kind of weird experimentation, or some kind
new
of
tech, or
Yeah.
that's the reality. I'm excited about the idea of watching what goes down though. What stupid because you could see it going so many ways. It's literally like a UFC fight or something where you're guessing what's going to happen and who's going to do what, but really you just don't have any idea.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that it's so far away. I mean, still two and a half months away. I mean, the momentum and the hype is going to fizzle out. Unfortunately, it should be like next week we're storming,
Yeah.
Right.
storming the doors.
Yeah.
that would make it probably more successful.
I would
if they would
think.
just
I
all of a
think-
sudden switch it.
If I was an airline, I'd be thinking about how to cash in on this. Like we're running Area 51 storming specials.
Oh,
and, like come on.
Storming specials.
Well, think about
Love
it.
it.
If you
great.
if you're like, let's say you're Delta and you're like, all right, here's the deal. We're gonna have all the trips to Nevada from September 12th,
18th,
not 11th, the September 12th through the 20th will be alien themed celebrations. And then everybody, and like, so if you get on the plane during that time, like,
You get,
they
like,
have
a
like alien drinks and
foil
alien
hat.
things. Everyone
And
would.
3 air marshals.
And one man in
Perfect.
black.
yeah.
But everyone would probably fly the airline that cashed in on this and
Oh, yeah.
and made it like the theme. Because like that alien trinket store picture, people like the
Oh, yeah.
the theme and the trinkets and the stupidity
There's
of
money to be
like
made,
that
for
side
sure.
of it.
I just want someone to catch Will Smith there in like
Welcome to
a
Earth.
hoodie or something, and he's like just looking around, scoping out.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty funny. Men in
I
Black.
can't wait. I hope it happens.
So what's your guess? Final guess.
I just
How many people?
I see it fizzling
What
out.
happens?
How many people? I think the 3,000 to 5,000 is correct.
Okay.
I think the momentum is going to fizzle out, and I don't think anything will happen. Maybe because of the hype, the government will release a couple things like, "Hey, don't storm it, but here's this 1990 footage that we can't confirm it. Maybe give us some answers." I would trade that in for.
Do you think that will happen? Or you hope that would happen? Because that sounded like a hope.
Well, I mean, they're releasing things by the year, so
Right.
I mean, maybe they might give us something a little more sweeter. That we
If
can
there
take our
was
hands
ever a
into.
president who would who would say stuff.
Huge.
Yeah. Jeffrey, what's your final?
I think that 15 to 20,000 people are going to show up.
Okay.
But I think that it won't be people showing up to like full on storm Area 51. It's going to be people showing up like the millennials and everyone's who they're into festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to get overplayed as like a big party instead of a
Yeah.
Oh.
act like that
I
kind of
can
thing.
see it being a party thing. Yeah.
And then
Like,
no one,
show us
no
the thing,
one
but it's
actually-
everyone's there getting pictures, and there's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
there's a live band.
Yep.
I could
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
I could 100.
Someone streaming Netflix.
Right.
All the alien documentaries that they have.
I think just right.
That's a good one. I like that. That's a good theory.
I think you're 100% right, and I think it becomes an annual thing because of that.
Yeah, I like that theory.
I'm
That's a
just
good
glad
one.
that my Facebook group really took off.
Trying to benefit from it the most.
So I was there was a meme that I came across, and it got me to do some thinking about. Obviously, we're a hunting and fishing show, and on the podcast we talk about a lot of different topics. Hunting and fishing always being a main core of it.
And aliens.
And aliens. That being said, this meme was about, and we'll go ahead and put that up in a second, but what happened was this guy posted, and he was talking about the fact that because he carries a gun, he's a better person. So when you think, so that's a weird thing. So he was telling a story, and put the picture up in a second here. There it is. He said, so I just picked up a hitchhiker and drove him 15 miles down the road. Why? Because it's hot out. It's too hot to be walking. And I had 11 rounds of 230 grain 45 caliber hollow points tucked under my leg in case he got crazy. Being armed allows you to be polite to strangers without the risk of being chopped up and carried around in a duffel bag. Be a nice person and carry a gun. So here's I was breaking that down because this is like a pretty well written post, but you know it's obviously written in a way that's
Tarl.
almost, yeah, that's a name, isn't it? Tarl?
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, he looks like a cool dude. But anyhow, that's our friend Carl. He just changed it a little.
Carl Gordon.
He's even got the hat. Our friend Carl had a hat like that too, I
He
think.
kind of looks like Carl with a bit of a beard.
It's Carl. Anyhow, it's not. But the idea is this. So I was talking to my sister. Let's say my sister is driving down the road and she's got my niece in the back, or both nieces, or even by herself. She's driving down the road and she sees a guy hitchhiking on the side of the road. It's 100 degrees out. She can't stop to pick him up. Why? Because there's a danger in her picking him up, right?
Oh, yeah.
So she can't defend herself against this 6-foot hitchhiker who's kind of a huskier guy. There's a danger she'd be putting herself. There's a danger level. So if you were to rate it, so like on a scale of 1 to 10, for her bringing someone she doesn't know in that's hitchhiking, that's bigger than her, that she can't defend herself against, let's say that's a 8 out of 10 on danger scale.
I would say based on the documentaries I've seen in theaters that it's for sure a 10 out of 10.
I was
That's
gonna say
gonna
that.
be a murderer.
Yeah.
So the idea is there's like a danger scale that we all have inside us, right? So
Like a spidey sense.
she looks at that and goes, okay, that's too high in the rating scale, and
Yeah.
keeps driving down the road.
Yeah.
Now, me as a person who's trained to defend myself, carries a gun, or has guns, or what, rather, if I have let's say I'm carrying a gun, legally, obviously, and I have a handgun, and I'm capable of defending myself physically, I can pick that person up because my danger scale, whereas it's an 8 for my sister, it's only a 2 or 3 for me.
Yes, correct.
So therefore, I can do more good because I can defend myself. And then I got like in a deeper. Go ahead.
Well, then, according to that scale, now, does your sister get docked points because she's got the kid, and is it because she's a female and she can't defend herself?
With or without the kid, let's say it's a 9 if she had the kids with her. It's an
Okay.
8 if she didn't.
Yeah.
And it is partly because she's a female.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call a spade here.
But that's just
there's
like-
females that can beat the crap out of me, but
Oh,
there's
yeah.
ones that can't. And if you were to take a random female from people in general, just
Yep.
a random female and a random male,
Yep.
9 times out of 10, the male is going to be able to be physically able to
Correct.
overpower her if they're the same age.
Correct.
So that's just
Yeah.
that. I'm sure I'm going to get
We're gonna get the
written up
most
for that.
comments for this one.
Stupid, I know. So the idea is this: carrying a gun and the Second Amendment, and I think the mentality behind it, like there's this other side of like the mentality that's never really portrayed well. That, and it's this, is like, if you can defend yourself and you can protect yourself and you can protect your family because you have a sidearm, you can do more good things. You can go out on a limb more. You can put yourself in more dangerous situations to help others. Whether they were same thing.
Because you
as,
have a slight upper hand if anything was to go awry.
right,
Sure.
right. So if you saw someone, let's say you saw 3 guys attacking a female, and they're all pretty big dudes.
Yep.
You're not trained physically to defend yourself, so you don't have any training, and you
Yep.
don't have a gun.
Okay.
What's the likelihood you're going to help her?
Slim.
Slim.
I might throw
not-
out a hey, you get away from there.
Not 0%, but it's very small.
It's low. Okay.
Yeah. Or
What-
that you'd even do any good.
Yeah.
What if there's a female there in the same situation, and you're trained in Taekwondo,
Yep.
UFC, cage fighting, and everything like that? What's the likelihood you'll be able to help her? Higher.
Yep. Much.
What's the likelihood if you're trained to defend yourself and you have a handgun that you're going to help her?
Oh, there you go.
Pretty
Yeah,
high.
he shoots some rounds in the air. Hey, let's not do what you're doing.
So
I don't think AJ is trained in.
I don't think so. Not if his go-to was to shoot him in the air. You're not really supposed to do that, buddy. But no, because they got to come down.
It's a good tactic, and it probably work.
They got to come down. So.
I just see it like, in movies.
Yeah, but they come down, so don't want to be under them.
There's gravity.
So, but the idea is that with a gun and being able to physically protect yourself, you can be a better person. And I was talking about like in the Bible, so it says the meek will inherit the earth, right? It says that in the Bible. Jesus talks about it. But if you break down the real idea of being humble and doing the right thing, I believe that, like Jordan Peterson says, if you're a rabbit, you're not virtuous because you're a rabbit. You just can't do anything but get eaten. You're not virtuous like, oh, I'm going to help the coyote live longer. No. You don't have a choice.
No.
You're just eaten because you can't do anything else. You're weak. But if you're another animal that can defend itself, if you're somebody in the real world that can defend themselves, that can protect themselves, that can carry a sidearm, that can do those things, that has a head on their shoulders, that can process information in a high-stress situation, that can do good, and you choose to do good, and you choose to be humble and meek and kind and gentle, but you can be a monster, but you're a controlled monster, then you're actually a better person. I don't think Jesus ever wanted us to be weak, rabbits. I think he wanted us to be able to defend ourselves, protect our family. And I think without the Second Amendment and the being able to carry a sidearm or be able to protect yourself in nature. If you're walking in the woods and you're in the bear woods, they're like, in Alaska, they're like, you have to take a gun when you go clam digging or you will get killed.
Oh, yeah.
Clam digging?
Clam digging is a thing. Yeah, my family does it there.
I was wondering what that was.
They go on the beach, like the shores, and they get exposed, and they actually go pick clams, and then they eat them. Their saltwater clams are very, very good.
Oh, yeah.
And but the bears do the same.
Okay.
So when you're there, you get a big pile of them, or they do salmon fishing there. Grizzlies, they'll come down to the water. I mean, you have to be able to defend yourself, period.
That's true.
Just giving them the fish isn't
And what's
enough.
the first thing you say is like, oh, you take something to defend yourself. Well, you should be able to defend your family in any stretch of any stretch too, and especially in a day and age when divorce rate's 50%.
It's got to be higher than that.
Okay, so you got a lot of single moms in situations where they're at home alone with their kids, or single girls that live alone and stuff like that. They need an equalizer to be able to protect themselves, and the idea that you would take away their right to protect themselves is a terrifying thing. And so it's like, you can look at it like, why do you need guns, or why do you this, or why do you that? But when you really break it down, it's like, you need to be a controlled monster that can protect yourself and do those, and you can do more good if you can. And that's
it's a well put point. As I read that post,
right.
I can't deny it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting though, because when people think about like, well, I don't like guns, or I don't like this, or I don't like that, it's like, well, in this stretch, I mean, look at it. It's an equalizer that makes it so you can do more good, and you can neutralize situations that just because you have it and you're capable. A lot of times, just the capability of being able to protect yourself, someone knows you're a black belt, or you have a gun, or they should see it, or something like that.
Sure.
It changes the dynamic quick.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it can cause you to do more good. So I thought that was kind of a neat... I went on like a brain thought of it, and I...
No, I think it's a pretty good one, because as bad as it is, we do live in a fairly messed up world these days, where it helps if you're going to pick up a hitchhiker, the likelihood of something happening... You have that gun, something happens, you're good to go.
And I think a certain percentage of your life that you spend should be sectioned off for learning how to defend yourself, handle a gun properly, and protecting your family. I think that we get lulled into an idea that we don't need that anymore. But yet, we also get lulled into the news of like where this stuff's happening all the time. So we're like, oh, I don't have time for that or this or that. I think as a man, especially like with a family or whatever, it's important that you spend the X amount of percent of your time learning how to handle a gun properly, learning how to defend yourself, and being in good physical fitness shape to be able to do those things.
The thing that bugs me about it is you talk to people about this, and a bunch of people will say, oh, then get rid of guns then.
But you can't get rid of guns.
All that does is get rid of guns for people who are trying to get them legally. It doesn't get rid of guns. Making anything illegal doesn't get rid of it. It actually increases like
black
demand
market.
for it. It was just
Yeah.
a black market now, so people are getting them illegally. So they're already doing illegal things. You're already promoting. It's not going to stop it. It's only going to make it worse. And then
Marijuana
the
is
good
the-
people won't have guns, and the bad people will.
Marijuana is the perfect example. It's now being
example.
legalized everywhere. In a lot of places, not everywhere, but a lot of places are legalizing it.
Yeah.
But it's been illegal for so long.
Yeah.
Does that mean nobody's been smoking weed for the last 30 years? Come on.
Yeah.
So anytime someone's like, well, just make them illegal, it's like, well, you know better, buddy. You saw weed, right? You saw marijuana. Like, you understand that that's not how things work. Like, when you make something illegal, that doesn't mean it goes
But
away.
that's also based on like a propaganda that it's so harmful and
Right.
it doesn't have all these medical
Same
benefits.
just like
Exactly.
guns. There's
Exactly.
propaganda that says it's not helpful and it's
Absolutely.
not good. So I'm excited about this. We were, as a lot of people know, that we've been talking about it for a long time. We have Greenway gear coming out very soon. It's supposed to have been coming out so long, but to be honest with you, our dedication to developing our own products that aren't just a gilding shirt with a logo slapped on it, taking the time to dedicate it and make sure that our products are top notch, so when people get them, they know Greenway gear brand is awesome. Has taken a lot longer than the manufacturer and
Who knew?
ourselves thought it would take. Yeah,
Turns
it's-
out doing something new is hard.
yeah. So, but with that being said, I almost think there was like a good reason for it, because we've been spending a lot of the time to develop this font that we thought represented us well. And, our team from a branding perspective wanted to have the right consistent look all the time. And you can look at our current logo with the Greenway Outdoors and the writing that was, and I always liked it, but there was just something not quite perfect about it, and we always needed a secondary logo as well. So I want to actually show you guys the new logo and the new fonts that we're going to be rolling with for all of our stuff, including Greenway gear. That right there is the Greenway Outdoors logo. As you can see, the font is different. It's a little bit bolder. I think it represents us a lot better. I'm excited about it. I think that it'll print better. And that's a font that, through the show, whenever there's any writing or anything that represents the Greenway Outdoors, I think that would be good writing. And then we've also got the secondary logo here, which I think is cool for shirts and hats and stuff like that TGW, and then that compass that you recognize for the O. So those are our new logos. I'm super pumped about them.
Pretty neat.
I think they're really cool.
It turned out really good.
Yeah,
I liked your last minute edition of the green outline.
I do
think
too.
That really made it pop.
I think there was just something missing before.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm pretty pumped about those. So
I like the lines, straight.
yeah,
It's very good.
very bold.
Yep.
So I hope you guys like them too. We're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, there's an alligator on the loose. His name's Chance, and it's really adorable. We're going to tell you about it. Stay tuned. You're a hunter, and because you hunt, you're the world's greatest conservationist. You're a huntervationist. You do more for wildlife and conservation than anyone. The Sportsman Alliance protects hunters from the animal rights movement. When the Sportsman Alliance gets involved in court cases or legislation, hunters win. Conservation wins. Become a huntervationist today and join the Sportsman Alliance like we did to help protect your rights against the animal rights movement.
Hot Shot Outfitters in Port Hope, Michigan is the destination for whitetail deer, crow, waterfowl, rabbit, predator, and turkey hunts. We have cabins, over 30,000 non-fenced acres, and a passion for delivering fair chase hunts to you and your family. Reserve your hunt at hotshotoutfitters.com today.
When your hands are busy, your mind gets right. When your hands are busy, you can't point fingers and complain that life isn't fair. When your hands are busy, you're serving your family, your friends, and your community. When your hands are busy, you show everyone what you're capable of. The all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year.
Hello and welcome back to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. So Jeff, tell us about Chance.
So
the gator.
about I think it was about a week and a half ago now, people were walking around in Humboldt Park in Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah, been there.
And
Humboldt Park.
I've been there.
Humboldt.
Humboldt.
Yeah, it's like a
DT.
DT at the end. So that's like a German thing.
I'm not sure.
So these people walk around the park. They're checking out, walking around the water. It's like a lagoon there, and they see what kind of looks like an alligator.
What qualifies as a lagoon?
That's a great question.
There's a blue monster in it. From
There's
the
like
deep.
a source of water that's always coming. I really don't know.
I don't know what a lagoon.
I always see them like have like moisture or steam above them, or like
Oh yeah.
I think Jamaica,
Yeah.
but there might not be one lagoon in Jamaica. I don't know what.
I think jungle.
Is it just a pond in an area where it's not gross?
Or maybe it is gross. I don't.
I don't know either.
I think
Anyways.
it's like go ahead.
So they spot an alligator there, and at first they're like, "No, that's not an
Plastic
alligator.
thing.
It's Chicago. There's no way." Apparently, somebody they think it was a pet alligator, just like the snakes we saw in Florida,
Yeah,
where
there you
people
go.
decide they don't want them anymore, so they let them go, thinking, well, it won't make a big deal. Somebody lets an alligator go, and it grows to be 5 feet long
Wow.
and is in the lagoon at Humboldt Park. The main thing I thought was when I see this picture, I'm like, oh, look, that's a cute little alligator. It's 5 feet long.
Yeah,
We caught a 10-foot
10-footer.
alligator. How? I'm like, oh, it's double the length, but it can't be like that much.
It's
The
gotta be girthy.
girth is
Yeah.
so much different from 5 foot to 10 foot.
No, it's like trout, where like a 7-inch trout and an 8-inch trout, there's a humongous difference.
Really?
Like, yeah, an 8-inch trout is so much bigger than a 7-inch trout, like poundage, like volume, like mass.
When they caught this,
They bulk up big, just like this.
yeah, when they caught this, they showed it to the public, and I'm reading about this, and they said the first, the instinct, the thing that people said when they revealed it was, ah. I'm like, who says ah to a 5 foot alligator that's been walking around in a public park? But then you see
Why'd
the
they
picture,
call him
and it's like,
Chance? Who
oh,
named
it's
him?
not-
Who was like,
So
his
they-
name Chance?
They had a like anytime they want to name something, they put it out on the internet and had a vote, and it came down between Ruth Gator Ginsburg,
Nice.
Barack Obama,
Because it's Chicago.
and Chance the Snapper. So that's what they went with.
I like
Chance
the first
Snapper.
one.
Chance the Rapper.
I like
He's
it.
from Chicago.
I want to say.
Oh,
they-
really? That's really funny then. Those are creative.
It
I
makes
want to say
sense.
that they went a little overboard with it because they're talking about like, oh, the gator. It's the story of the summer for Chicago. And it made Chicago like a
Don't they have
happier
like
place to
44?
live. And
Don't they have 44 murders a day in Chicago or something?
They made a bobblehead of
For the
Chance
alligator?
the Snapper.
Oh.
Like,
So what'd they
this-
do with 'em?
This story broke on July 9th, and they already have a bobblehead.
What'd they do with him?
So they had one guy go out, and I think it was it's like
They ate him.
Bob
I'm just kidding.
Bob the Gator Man or Gator something.
Swamp Apes went out there.
No, this guy's from Chicago, but he's like the Animal Society something. So he goes out, he sets a bunch of traps. After I think a day or two, he was unsuccessful. So they called in the big guns, which
Us?
is apparently which
They
is a
didn't call
guy
us, Jeff.
named Frank Robbs, I believe, and he was from Florida. So he comes up, he goes, oh yeah, I do this for a living. And within a matter of, he had gone around the lake, lagoon, whatever you want to call it, like 8 times. And this was at like 1 a.m. And he shined a light, found it, went up, one cast, hooked it in the tail with 200-pound test.
A big treble hook, yeah.
Yeah, and brought it in. He said when he got it to, I was either the boat or land, I don't remember where he cast from, but when he got it in, right as he went to grab it, the hook came out.
Oh.
Yeah. It
So what
whether
happened?
threw it or whatever, but he just grabbed it and picked it up.
Oh,
So,
okay. I
Not,
thought I would've got away.
Not crazy, but,
Yeah.
So they talked to him afterwards. They go, well, is this typical? Like, how do you normally catch alligators, crocodiles? He goes, just barely.
By
I
the
like it.
tail.
Yeah. So they caught it. They unveiled it, and I guess
Unveiled it?
yeah, they revealed it, whatever you want to call it. And they're like, oh, we should take it to the Lincoln Park Zoo. Well, they have another zoo in Chicago. They're like, we should keep it there. But Chicago alligators don't live here. Crocodiles
No.
don't.
Yeah.
They don't work
don't
well
really
up
want 'em to
here.
be in a zoo.
Yeah. So they're taking them down to St. Augustine something or another in Florida,
Releasing
which
'em?
is like a preserve that they have.
Oh, they're keeping 'em.
Yeah. So they're like, I don't.
They don't want to take a
he's
chance on him getting.
He was he's a pet, so
Yeah.
They don't know if he has all the necessary instincts to.
He's been fed his whole life.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lagoon
Interesting.
is a
Oh, good. I'm
noun,
glad you looked it up.
and it is a stretch of salt water separated from the sea by a low sandbank or coral reef. Also, it's a small freshwater lake near a larger lake or river. Also, an artificial pool for the treatment of effluent or to accommodate surface water that overflows drains during heavy rain.
Okay.
Or a blue body of water that sometimes holds monsters.
Yeah, so that is what so apparently there's a lot of different definitions for a lagoon and a lot of different situations where you can throw that word around. So
That is
you're safe.
a funny story, Jeff. Well done.
This is pretty interesting.
Good for you, especially.
I had something I wanted to run by us on here tonight. So with me not before I came on the part of the team, 3 years ago, which is insane to say. Before that, I mean, I didn't have much outdoor experience as far as like
Or
hunting.
happiness.
No. And so like now that we've been doing it for a while, like our name's getting out there, I'll get some people come by and ask me like what I do, and I'll tell them, and then it's usually the first thing that they'll say. I'm like, okay, I work for I direct a outdoor hunting and fishing television show. We focus on conservation, kind of give them the spiel.
Yeah.
And then usually it's always like, oh, well, I don't really like those hunting shows because it's all robotic, and they feel like they're just selling me an arrow or some fishing line, and
Sure.
and they're not wrong. And then I have to be like, okay, well, that's real, and I'm sorry that's a thing, but we're trying to get past all that because it's this style they've been beating a dead horse over it. Like,
Sure.
Can we be done with it? That's my thing now. Like, I'm sorry, but like I'm 3 years in, but I just don't want to see any more. Let's talk to me how you hooked up, how you watched over a deer hill for 3 hours and nothing happened. Like
My favorite part is the weird cutaway where they're like, oh my God, I got this big bass on this new ugly stick rod with blah, blah features.
and it's like all these shows are doing that, and I just don't.
Yeah.
What
I find myself
what is
in the same conversations quite a bit, and what I like to say,
I can imagine.
I like to say that we're a reality show first.
Yeah.
That happens to be about hunting and fishing.
Yeah.
Because if we say we're an outdoor show,
That's true.
or a hunting or fishing show, we get lumped in.
Yep.
Everyone's favorite thing to do is be like, oh, well, I like this blah 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 show, and everything else, and
Do you guys do that? Because that's what I like.
yeah,
All
and
right.
it's like,
All right, 50-year-old man.
well, and then everything is bass fishing, everything is whitetail, and everything
occasionally
is
turkey.
and turkey, and those are everything is that, and I don't want to bash the entire industry because there's like people that I like and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but I actually have a theory. It's not even a theory. I kind of figured it out. The idea is a lot of the bigger networks, so people that don't know about the outdoor industry, is it's kind of created this like pay-to-play industry where if you want to be on, one of the bigger channels, you have to pay to be there, and it's expensive. So if you want to pay to be on the big channel, then you own the commercial time that you would then sell, and hopefully you would sell the commercial time and the sponsorships for more than that of your cost, and that's how you make a profit, and that's how it's done. So what that has done over time is something that used to happen a lot in radio back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. This was the trend. I was talking to Buzz about it from NRM Streamcast. And Buzz explained to me that he was a bigwig at WJR for years and everything. He said what would happen is, because the sponsors became so important to the people that were producing the show, everything became about trying to make the sponsors happy as opposed to making the audience happy. And I think the outdoor industry is probably the last foothold of that strength.
Oh.
So what happens is they go and they develop these shows. A lot of them are owned by companies that are already in the outdoor industry. They just have their staff. They use it as a marketing piece. So they have their staff just go shoot these monster whitetails on ranches, plug it in on one of the shows, spend the money, and then their job is to push the product the entire time.
I never thought of it as like a marketing ploy.
So
That makes sense.
that's what they do. So unfortunately, what that's done to the entire industry is made it so that when you think hunting and fishing shows, you think essentially an infomercial. And that's what 95,
With
99%.
a little bit of story.
Right. With
A little
a,
bit.
Some maybe,
Some
if you're lucky.
some no stories. Some
Yeah,
it's
no.
like all of a sudden they're
That's true.
turkey and then they're shooting a deer and then it's like what is
Welcome to the show. Here's this buck. Bang.
And the problem with that too, from like a creative standpoint, when I think about it, is like there's no real connection to the hosts. You know, like Ted Nugent. There's such a connection to Ted Nugent. When you watch his show, everyone knows who Ted Nugent is.
Mm-hmm.
But he had the connection outside of the show first, and then he does the hunting show, and he goes on his rants, and there's the character interaction there. Meat Eater, same thing. Product, he just uses the product. He never, ever, ever addresses it, talks about it, whatever it
And
is.
I feel like he's the only one that does that.
Well, besides us.
Obviously.
So the idea is, you know, what that's done over time is you've got the top shows, your Meat Eater, your Ted Nugent, the one that has created this awesome balance with the audience
Yep.
and has worked to make the audience happy. They've done fantastic because long term, that's your better goal. The problem with the outdoor industry is not even in television industry, and this was media in general, and like I was talking to Buzz about it in radio especially for a long time, everything became about making the sponsor happy and doing what the sponsor wanted as opposed to, and that's why I give a lot of kudos to RAM. You know, RAM is obviously our biggest sponsor. A lot of people know that. When you watch our, as of right now in 2019, July, RAM is our biggest sponsor. Mm-hmm. And when we use their product in the show, they were really, really pushing for organic integration. They go, we don't want it to be this thing where you're like, I'm pulling up in my Ram truck, and I refuse to do it. You know, I remember in the meeting, I was like, I will not do this, I will not do this, I will not do this. They're like, good, don't ever do that.
Yeah.
Please.
They kind of got it. So I give a lot of credit to them as far as the product integration goes. But that's what you find, and I think a little bit of it is the fact that we started ourselves, so we didn't have any connections in the industry whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So getting those sponsorships would have been tough, but thank God we didn't, because we may have been guided into doing the exact same thing, and I'm glad that never happened. But yeah, it's kind of I've dedicated myself, and I know that you guys have too, is creating content that would sell hunting and fishing licenses, not a product. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So get people more involved in the outdoors, participate in conservation and stuff like that. And I think that would attest to why our content is vastly different than everyone else's. When you watch our show, it can fit on National Geographic, it can fit on Discovery Channel, it can fit on Netflix, it can fit in all these different arenas simply because we didn't go that route.
And it's like when we go hunt pythons, we're not sitting there and be like, okay, well, make sure before we start, make sure, and you look at the camera, buy these whatever snake boots, as if that's going to help. I mean, I'm sure it helps, but that's not why we're there. We're there to, practice conservation.
Right.
And that's the whole point of the show. And I'm just glad that we didn't go that route, because artistically, there is no art, in my opinion.
Well, that's the thing, is artistically. But as everything changes in the position where we're in a situation now where everybody is driving to these online platforms. So it was in the news today, actually. Netflix lost a couple 100,000 subscribers or something like that, and their stocks plummeted today. And I gotta be honest with you, a lot of the reason for that is because Disney is, I believe they own Fox, ESPN. I believe they acquired Hulu. So all of these different, they're creating like their own big streaming service. I don't know if they're using the Hulu platform or what they're using. I don't know enough on that section, but I know that they're making their own. Mm-hmm. Netflix is obviously their own. Amazon has their own. Hulu has one. And I know that there's other ones being developed with Discovery Channel and so on and so forth, that these other streaming services, even HBO is moving to a platform where it's a streaming service. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everyone's kind of moving to this model that Netflix was kind of the first big dog in.
Yeah, I know.
And kudos to them for being able to adapt from going from a company that could mail you a DVD.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To what it is today, shows their strength and grit.
They took out Blockbuster, and you got to hand to them.
Well, what really surprised me, though, was the fact, and I've been trying to ponder in my business mind why on earth they would have done this, but they lost Friends. They're going to lose The Office. They're losing these big-time shows that are like their biggest stream shows.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to these other platforms, and they're tweeting about it, saying, we're sad to see this show go. And I was like, why would Netflix announce it to all their followers that they're losing these things when they're not losing them until 2020? Yeah. Or 2021 or whatever it might be.
Maybe it's just so that no one jumps ship early. You know.
Like, oh, it's going to be here until then. Yeah, well, one of the things I was thinking about was, well, maybe the people that have Netflix will be like, oh, let's binge that now before it's gone.
Yeah.
Like, that maybe is it, but I don't think it did. I don't think it bode well for their stocks. I think that's why the stocks are going down. So I don't know that was or maybe people just understand that the market's changing, so they were trying to get in front of it and just say it themselves. Like, better to hear something from them. I don't.
Yeah.
It's like a weird thing, right?
It is
Very
weird.
bizarre.
It's like telling a girl like, I can't think of anything. I was like, but on a date, being like, just so you know, my toes are real weird. It's like, well, why would
Just up front now.
Why
I
would
love
you
that.
tell
I
her
love
now?
that.
She's gonna find
Weird
out in
toes.
6 months. Why'd you tell her now? My toes aren't weird, by the way.
That's hilarious.
Jeff's on the other hand.
You wait
Hey.
6 months to show toes. Good for you. whoa, not until the 35th date.
Well,
all
Do
right?
I
respectful.
allow a girl to see my feet? Okay,
Hey.
but no, it's like, why would you open with it? Like, why would you tell that? But so, interestingly enough, though, I think I'm forecasting that this will create a new market where the value of the content and the quality of the content will really dominate the kings in both the outdoor industry, but in television and movies in general. Because now Netflix is creating their own content because they can't get it from Fox. They can't get it from a lot of the movie stuff. They certainly can't get it from Disney. They can't get it from all these places because they're all making their own streaming services.
Everyone's
So they have to produce their own or work with independent producers. Hello, glad we're one of those. But
free agents.
the idea is, in the industry, though, all of those consumers are going to be looking for the best high-quality content that is going to make the consumers happy because they're on a subscription model.
Yep.
So I guess long and short is I'm excited about the fact that subscription models are what are driving the market because I think it will create higher quality content going forward, and everyone will jump off of this subscription or jump off of this product pushing model.
Yeah, they you know,
Because the consumer has to be happy or they won't subscribe.
cable companies are really trying to figure out what they're going to do because, as we know it, cable's on the outs.
I think it's too
I
late.
don't have it. I haven't had it in years.
Well, I
Yeah.
think a lot of them,
And
though,
I like the way it is now.
I think a lot of the cable companies are probably either partnering or involved in a lot of these streaming service
Oh, yeah,
ideas.
they're behind the scenes.
I'm sure they're invested in. I don't know the details
Yeah.
on that, but I'm sure if they were smart, I mean, they would be all over that.
Because, I mean, other than internet, there's really no, cable's kind of
Yeah.
a dinosaur thing.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
The thing that I think they're going to struggle with is like HBO is a good example. They've got Game of Thrones, huge show. Well, people get their subscription, watch Game of Thrones while it's on, and then cancel their subscription. And then they move
You
over
think
to
so?
Netflix because Netflix has Stranger Things. And then when Stranger Things is over, then they cancel that and go to Amazon Prime because Amazon Prime has this show.
That is
So
the
it's-
problem, though.
That's possible.
It's a interesting thing that they'll have to
Cancel after you
overcome.
get your free month.
Yeah, well, because you have to get
Nice.
good content to get people in, but then you have to have enough content where people
Keep 'em stay.
and similar content enough to the other subscribers that they'll stay and watch yours as opposed to in addition to getting.
How many shows or movies do you think it takes to make a streaming service? Like, how many options do you think it's got to take an astronomical
I'd love
amount?
to know how many titles are on Netflix. or
Movies would
Hulu.
almost have to be endless.
I got to think 400 minimum.
I think that just in
It could be
shows
I
or like
Yeah.
custom documentaries.
In order to
that
hold
kind of
people.
stuff. Yeah,
In
yeah.
order to hold people.
Yeah.
You know what one always I know nothing about, and I probably shouldn't even speak on it because I know nothing about it, but Crackle is always on the TV,
great app.
and it's always free.
Yep.
And they always have like random not a
things.
lot, but a couple good things always.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree. That's my emergency. If nothing's on, I'll go to it and.
But how are they generating income?
They
I
just
don't-
have commercials. They have commercials.
Is there commercials?
Yeah.
Okay, well that one makes sense then. But yeah, it always
But yeah, all the stuff is free.
baffled me. But so I see the market changing, and I see a lot of these big streaming services are going to be hungry for independent quality content. But they
Yeah, I hope the quality is the main
Oh
point.
no, who makes that?
But my question is, where do you see them going? I know, right? Where do you see them going as far as commercials then? Because there was talk, I guess,
Yeah.
of some of the big streaming services
I
possibly.
heard a theory that
Because then it just becomes the same darn thing.
I heard a theory that it will resort to like only live sports that you can actually get real commercials. Because if Netflix is none, all the ones you either pay not to have them or you pay less to get them.
So what will that do to marketing of products? What will that do to advertising agencies?
I would think you just have to spend a lot more for product placement.
Or
Yeah.
social
I
is
see a lot
obviously
more
big,
in
social
movies
media.
nowadays. Like you'll see a Pepsi can or a Pepsi machine in the background of something, and clearly it's there. For a
Stranger
reason.
Things.
Yeah.
I mean, they pushed. I've never there or that Ring Around the World. What was it called? Ring Around the World, or was it Rim Around the World or Rim of the World? Rim of the World.
Rim of the World.
On Netflix, that movie I told you to watch.
Okay, yes.
Did you watch it?
I did not know.
You have to watch it. You're gonna love it. It's total you.
Okay.
It's very Stranger Things type, like kids and aliens and. It's on Netflix.
I saw that trailer.
But anyhow, you're really gonna
Yeah.
enjoy it. I like that movie.
Nice.
I would say every time someone does that, like, oh, you're going to love that. And then,
Shut up,
most of
Jeff.
it ends up
AJ and I are always on
not.
key with each other with
Yeah,
movies.
we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, so I think you'll like it. But in that one, that movie is an Adidas commercial like you wouldn't believe. And that's I believe, a Netflix original.
Yeah.
So,
everybody's wearing
See,
the sweatsuit.
that's how.
no, they went in the movie, they're like, well, we're in these dirty clothes, time to change clothes. And then they go to the mall, and then they all like, it's kids, so it's funny. So there's like music in the background, and they're putting on all these Adidas clothes that were on mannequins. It's like a no shame.
Reminds me of a scene in Do Where's My Car.
Really? I've never seen that movie.
Great movie.
Yeah, when it came out, I wasn't allowed to watch movies with swear words.
I believe it.
Yeah, my dad.
I wonder,
I
they'll
believe
have to
it.
get more, like, subliminal with it. Like, you listen to the music in the background of that Adidas thing, that's like,
I don't
Adidas,
think. I
Adidas,
don't.
Yep.
Adidas,
No,
Adidas.
I don't think it'll
No.
get more subliminal. I think it'll get more prominent.
I could see it getting.
Well, like both.
subliminal.
Like, they have to.
I
they
could
have
see
to
it being subliminal.
Get it.
Well, no.
Whatever way they can.
Yeah. Because they can't. If they can't buy commercials, and everyone goes to streaming service.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts on.
It's a great one.
The industry.
to ponder.
The good summary is, I think that the market now is switching to drive quality content to consumers, and I think that is good for all. And I like the subscription idea.
Yep.
I'm the kind of guy that wouldn't be the one that would be like, oh, I want to download it for this and then cancel for that. I'm the guy that would probably pick like 2 or 3 good ones, just have those, and when it's time to watch TV or board a plane, I just see what's on.
Yeah.
That would be my style.
Yeah, that's kind of all I am.
But I'm also not a jerk who would just get a free subscription and bail like you. No, I'm just kidding.
I've got 3 full-time subscriptions. I did HBO because I wanted to watch Game of Thrones.
I'm
and
aware.
then
I
sent
have your
over.
passwords.
Yeah, you don't subscribe to
I'm
any
actually
of
the
them.
freeloader. So
Also, you watch some weird things. It shows up in my feed.
no, that's little Ashley. My cousin's also on there. That's my bet. No,
What?
no. Why do you watch Mean Girls every other week? I don't. I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you so much for tuning into the Green Bay Outdoors podcast. Hopefully, this was a good little rant on the inside of the behind the scenes of the media industry and where it's headed. Check out our Instagram, Facebook, our YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes or anything like that, check out nrmstreamcast.com. There's a mobile app as well. You can watch it on pretty much everything. It's also available on Lighthouse, so that's your Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, all those things. Just look up New Radio Media, or I'm sorry, NRM Streamcast, formerly New Radio Media.
Nice.
You can find it on there, download it, watch it for free. It's pretty cool. Also, if you're just listening to this, you can watch it on demand on our YouTube channel, the Green Bay Outdoors, so check it out there as well. Thank you so much for tuning into the Green Bay Outdoors podcast. Stay green.
It was very polite of you.